Hey there, it's Lacey J, here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message, a question, fan mail, even hate mail. We'll respond on YouTube. Also, please remember to rate and review the podcast on your favorite app or share it with someone you know who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s, Season 4, Episode 5. We made it. It's The Constant. It's a Desmond episode. It's a Derek episode. And surprise, bitches, Dave is back 2 weeks in a row. And Caleb's
what did your listeners
here.
do to deserve this?
Caleb,
not Caleb, but me twice in a row. That's
and Caleb
cruel.
too. Yay. Welcome, guys. Thanks so much for joining us for this important episode. This is where you say, well, we're glad to be here
Sorry,
or anything.
yeah.
I don't
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Glad to be here.
It's great to be. I mean, if ever there was an episode to be here for.
Indeed.
True.
And I would like to
that's a good
say,
point.
yes, we had hoped to have Ado here with us because I wanted all of those voices on this episode, but he did just have a baby. Well, he did not have a baby. That would be amazing. His girlfriend.
I mean, do we know that?
I'm sure. His girlfriend had a baby within the last 24 hours that we have recording this episode, so that wasn't going to happen. But he sends his love and says he'll be back someday.
And goddammit, we send it right back. Shout out to him and Mary and their beautiful new baby. We're all very happy for them.
So cute. I mean,
I'll call an
she is
ugly
just
baby
a
when I see an
sweetie.
ugly baby. That is not an ugly baby. That baby's adorable.
It's not an ugly baby. Well done.
No.
Well
Ada
done.
and Mary.
Yeah.
Yes, we know all about ugly children. Call back to season 2.
Oh, God, yes. There's ugly children, and then that's the stuff of nightmares.
Oh, my God. Ben, could you please update us on what the power rankings look like? After the first 4 episodes, Dave, of course, is privy to this information because he was here for the 4th episode. But for Caleb, it's all brand new news. Let's shock him. Starting in the bottom.
Brand
Shock
new
him.
news.
Starting in the bottom? Did I say?
Damn. That could be a shock.
Ooh. All right. Sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
Shock and ow.
Ow.
Yes, third from the bottom, we've got Matthew Abaddon and Aaron with -8 points.
Oh, my God.
Diane,
we're killing.
which I guess is-
We're killing like the best actor and a baby.
And the baby.
It's terrible. All right.
Diane, which is Kate's mother, -10
Mm-hmm.
points. And the wettest Duke of all, Miles, with -25 points. He's not.
You guys really
not
hate him.
Making friends. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I didn't like Ben Linus at first, and now I love him, so it can change.
Yeah.
True
yeah,
that.
All right.
For the top 3, with a bronze medal, we've got Dan Faraday with 13 points. We've got the
Legit.
Silver Sawyer with 16 points. And we've got a twin gold holders here with Hurley and Ben Linus, both with 36 points.
All right.
Tied
Linus.
at the top, Hurley and Ben Linus. I like this race. That is pretty amazing. And actually, Derek, I'm going to reverse earmuff you. Or take off your headphones. I need to earmuff you. Go away.
That's not a reverse earmuff.
cowgirl.
That's just an earmuff.
I don't know what I thought. Because he has earmuffs on, so I meant take them off. Okay. The fact that those two are at the top have such implications for the ending of this show, which is like amazing.
My thoughts exactly.
Exactly, right? Okay. Come back, Derek. Come back. Come on, come back.
What a
Alrighty
tool
then.
he is.
I just reversed earmuffed.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Never forget your first time.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So, Derek, why don't you take us through the constant?
Will do. So we start in 2004. We're going a lot of back and forth here. The episode
Indeed.
opens in the... But there's actually no flashbacks in this episode.
I mean, sort of.
True. Yeah,
You were
yeah.
just like
that's
really
actually
there.
true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So in 2004, the episode opens in the helicopter we haven't seen since it took off in episode 3. Desmond is looking at the photo of himself and Penny, and Frank is flying the helicopter while looking at a piece of paper with a compass bearing on it. Saeed is next to him watching. He inquires about the bearing, and LAPidus says it's a cheat sheet from Faraday.
I'm just going to stop you right there. It's LAPidus.
Did you say
Oh,
LAPidus?
LAPidus, sorry.
He did say LAPidus. LAPidus is like, he's like, yeah.
Y'all know he was a lawnmower man, right?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think you're putting the emphasis on the wrong
The
syllable.
wrong syllable.
Yeah.
Luckily, it makes no difference.
Right.
Lapidus is like a Caribbean person telling you where to run.
Or lap dance.
Lapidus.
LAPidus.
That was
LAPidus. There we go.
amazing.
That's how I remember it.
That's how you
There you
remember
go.
it. Or you just call him Frank.
Yeah, there you go. So Saeed wonders why LAPidus doesn't know where his boat is just as he starts flying into a thunderhead. Saeed questions this, and LAPidus says, "Why don't you just sit back and let me do my job, huh?" Saeed turns to Desmond and asks if the woman in the photo is Penelope, and Desmond nods. Saeed confirms with Desmond that Penny said she didn't know about the boat, and then says, "What do you expect to find when you get there?" And Desmond just replies, "Answers." Suddenly, the helicopter experiences turbulence, and then there's a lightning strike. LAPidus says, "Damn it, hold on." While LAPidus struggles to keep the helicopter steady, Desmond looks around wildly while gripping the seat.
Now, I'm going to say
From that-
here, nobody's really worried because LAPidus is flying. You're good.
Yep.
Oh,
It's fine.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Trust
He's
LAPidus
got
with
it.
my life. LAPidus, on the
Yeah.
other hand, is a fucking jokester.
Yeah, LAPidus, if he was flying, yeah.
That guy's a walking fucking disaster.
So now we're back in 1996, and suddenly Desmond, whose hair is now short, is no longer gripping the helicopter seat, but instead a bed in a military barrack. A sergeant is yelling at him, "On your sodding feet! Move, move, move!" And Desmond slowly gets up and he gets yelled at for that. The
You
sergeant
know what?
asks him,
I have to say, like, just right here, a Scottish drill sergeant just does not sound as threatening to me as, like, you know, growing up with movies of drill sergeants. They're always in
Full
the
metal
United
jacket.
States. They're all from the
Really?
South and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that just sounds so much more threatening. This guy
first
sounds
off,
polite.
This dude is he's English, I think. I don't think it's the Scottish accent. If it is, it's like very much on the border. But I think he sounds tough as nails. You guys don't think
Oh,
that's
really?
a scary
All
accent?
"I
right.
haven't watched
All right.
Full
I mean,
Metal
I'm
Jacket."
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Interesting. Okay.
You've seen Full Metal Jacket, right, Dave?
Yeah. Gunnery Sergeant Hoffman.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My dad's favorite movie.
If I think if he was speaking actual Scots, like it would be completely different. He's speaking Scots English there.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you know, I think you
okay.
know if you couldn't barely like understand what he was saying because of you know just the dialect, I think it would be terrifying. It'd be like a German screaming at you, basically.
Yeah, that's true. That's
To me,
true.
he sounds like he's from London, though. He doesn't even sound like he sounds like he's from the south
For
of
sure.
England.
Well, you would know better
But
than us,
I mean, it definitely
probably.
looks like he's trying to cop a Scottish accent there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Queen's Army. It's probably, there are Scots in it, but I would expect more Brits, probably.
Yeah,
right?
they'll move around.
Yeah, okay.
This week on Ignorant Americans and what they think
Oh,
of
fuck, seriously. I know. It's a condition. We can't help it. It's the way we're raised.
Okay,
Path to
so
freedom.
the sergeant asks him what's the matter, and Desmond says he was having a dream about being in a helicopter in a storm, but he doesn't remember the rest. The sergeant tells everyone that because of Hume, they can go exercise in the yard at double time.
Actually,
So-
what he says is, well, at least it was a military dream.
I guess at least it was a bloody military dream.
Exactly. Which to
Exactly.
me was like,
Yeah.
you don't know that. I said there was a helicopter. I didn't say anything about it being military. I could have been with Kobe Bryant for all you know. Jesus.
Oh.
that reminds
I
me.
mean, not in 1996.
I want to sidebar this later because it has nothing to do with the conversation. But I had a dream Friday night that Ben and Lacey and I were talking about our favorite porn stars. So we'll rope back. We'll swing back around to that later.
Were you in a helicopter?
We were not in a helicopter.
You know what? Wait, do you know what? That's a weird coincidence, Caleb, because I had one of my followers, like my Facebook page, Zero Shame Stories, which is like the genesis of how we ended up podcasting. I had somebody message me the other day and told me that I looked exactly like some actress. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of her. Like, who is that? And he sends me a link. She's a porn star. And he was like, it's your doppelganger. And he was like, I've been thinking about this. When he messaged me, he was like, I've been thinking about this for a while, that she looks like you, or that you look like someone I know, and I just figured it out. And sends me this. It is a fucking porn star.
It was probably more like,
you look just like her, I think. You look just like her. I've thought that for years, Lacey.
I was about to ask you the name so I could Google it, just out of curiosity, and then I remembered I'm recording. I'm recording this on my work computer, so I probably shouldn't be doing that.
Me too. So I can't.
Oh yeah, that's
not a good idea.
Oops. Okay, I'll send it to you guys via Messenger. You can open it in your phones.
Okay, so the soldiers are now out in the rain doing push-ups in the mud. They're told to switch to crunches, and the sergeant is loudly counting. A soldier says to Desmond, I hope your dream was worth this, mate. Desmond responds, sorry, brother. It's just that I've never had a dream so vivid. It's like I was actually there. The sergeant asks him if he's got something to say, but Desmond just stares. The sergeant yells, I asked you a question. So now we're back in 2004, and there's a disturbed Desmond is back on the helicopter. LAPidus yells that he's almost through the weather and can see daylight. Desmond unbuckles himself, and Saeed says, what are you doing, Desmond? Are you all right? Desmond replies, who are you? How do you know my name?
What?
What? I think that's when the lost title screen comes, but it looks like I forgot to put it in that one.
So on the beach, Faraday and Charlotte are having coffee. Jack is still trying to get through to the freighter on the phone while Juliet stands by. Jack wants to know why it's been a day and they haven't heard anything. Charlotte says, I'm going to tell you again, as I've been telling you all night, Doctor, I don't know. You heard the same thing as I did when he called the boat. What makes you think I know anything? And Juliet replies, because you're not worried.
Yeah.
Hey, can we stop here for like just 1 second? Caleb, do you think that Charlotte is ugly? Because you sent me your rankings and you called her Rocky Dennis. And I think that
Rocky Dennis.
Damn.
I think that she's pretty. Are you having to Google that? Oh, Dave's too young. He doesn't know who Rocky Dennis is.
Either.
Wait till he
It's a
gets
character played by Eric Stoltz in a movie called Mask in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's about
Deformed, yeah.
it's about the
Elephant
he's
Man.
deformed.
Yeah, the one with Cher. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think that she's ugly. In fact, I do think she's pretty, but much like me, she has a giant forehead. And Rocky Dennis
No. She got a 5 head, dude.
I look. It's incredibly insulting, but I can see it. I'm looking at Rocky Dennis right now.
Yes.
I think she's definitely the character that looks the most like Rocky Dennis.
Christy, your husband is calling Charlotte Rocky Dennis. You have nothing to say?
And the three of us, me, Lacey, and Caleb, remember someone who we worked with who resembles Rocky Dennis.
Good Lord.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm not going to say her name on
She was nowhere near as close as Charlotte
Who looked
is.
like Rocky Dennis? Oh, Tiffany. Oh, shit, I said it.
Well, that's getting bleeped.
She looks a lot like Charlotte.
Oh my God, that's right. I think, okay. Wow. So we've hit ugly kids and ugly coworkers both in this episode now. Awesome. Anybody have any idea where the hell we were? I stopped us somewhere to talk about Rocky Dennis. You got it, Derek?
Juliet thinks it's suspicious that the boat could be at the island in 20 minutes but hasn't arrived, and Charlotte is still not nervous. Charlotte Dennis offers to whisper a prayer. Daniel chimes to say,
God damn it, Dave. Now I have a mouthful of water.
Dave looked like he almost died.
I did a side-by-side earlier, and oh my God, you're right. You're right.
Oh my God.
Can't unsee that now.
Oh, wow.
So Daniel chimes in to say, hey, come on. Maybe we should just tell them. Charlotte doesn't Doesn't want to confuse anyone, but Juliet says that maybe if they talk real slow, everyone else will follow. Faraday says, your perception of how long your friends have been gone, it's not necessarily how long they've actually been gone. Ooh.
Oh.
Jack wants clarification, but Charlotte thinks it's a mistake to tell them more. Faraday says that as long as LAPidus stayed on the bearings he gave them, they'll be fine. Jack asks, and what if he didn't? Daniel replies, then there might be some side effects.
I love how every time you say LAPidus now, there's like a little triumph in it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Like,
well, 2 episodes ago, we had to listen to you say Charlotte 100 fucking times. So now it's LAPidus.
And Monsignor.
Oh, there's a callback.
I know Ado would never forgive me if I didn't bring this up, but when we were in college, which is when we met, when maybe I'll be able to pull this up later on and send it to you guys, but there was I remember it was while Lost was airing, someone made like an animated sketch about Lost, and one of the jokes in the sketch was like how great LAPidus is, and like so he got his own theme song, like where every time he showed up,
I remember
LAPidus. so anytime me and Ado hear his name now, we just do that. So I have to bring it up because
awesome.
I'll try and find the sketch.
Back to the helicopter where Saeed is telling Desmond they're 2,000 feet and he needs to sit down. Desmond wants to know what he's doing there. LAPidus wants to know what's going on.
No, LAPidus knows what's going on.
Yes, he knows. Saeed tells him that something is wrong with Desmond, who then asks, how do you know my name? Saeed is trying to hold Desmond in the helicopter. Frank says they'll be there in 2 minutes. The helicopter veers down and comes close to the freighter. Saeed lets Desmond go, and Desmond notices the photo clenched in his hand. The helicopter lands, and as two men run over, Saeed arms himself.
I'm so glad. I was expecting the more he looked at the photograph that like the image of Penny would start to fade or something like that. I'm really glad they didn't go there with it.
Very Back to the Future.
Like Back to Future.
Oh,
Back to the Future, yeah.
That's nice. How many people do you think have Googled Rocky Dennis in the last 5 minutes that was listening?
I was one of them.
You could probably check their analytics in a week and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Super trending.
Yeah, super trending.
You do a remake. They ask LAPidus why he's back and who the people are. When Frank tells them they are Flight 815 survivors, one of the men says, you shouldn't have brought them here. What the hell were you thinking? Desmond is confused about where he is and says, what am I doing here? Who are you people? Saeed says that his friend is disoriented, but Desmond screams that he does not know Saeed. One of the freighter people wants to know when this started, and LAPidus tells him when they hit weather.
It's like right around the time we asked him to put on his mask in the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know you.
He makes a comment about staying on Faraday's vector, and the other guy signals for him to be quiet. He and the other freighter person step towards Desmond, but Saeed blocks them. They want to take Desmond to sickbay, but Saeed insists he'll be joining them. They ask Saeed to wait until he's been seen by a doctor, and Saeed reluctantly agrees. Desmond protests, saying there's some kind of mistake. He doesn't know these people. He yells, no, this is wrong. I'm not supposed to be. And we go back to 1996, and Desmond is suddenly standing in the rain with the rest of his regiment doing crunches next to him. He finishes his sentence, here. The soldiers are counting, and the sergeant says, here what? What the hell are you doing on your feet? Are you finished with your crunches because you want to run? Right. Squat on your feet. Right face. 10 kilometers. Go, go, go,
Inland.
go, go.
Inland. 10 kilometers inland, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There are times where I'm exercising where I wish I could jump like 18 years into the future or whatever.
Yeah. As they begin to run, one of the soldiers says to Desmond, keep moving or so help me, I'll kill you myself.
Wow.
Pissing him off, yeah. The soldiers are now loading a truck, and the one from the previous scene asks Desmond what's wrong. Desmond responds, if I told you, you'd think I was crazy. His friend says he already knows Desmond is crazy, so Desmond tells him that earlier, during crunches, he left and was on a boat and then came back.
I mean, that does sound crazy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I left.
His friend thinks that Desmond is trying to get out of service and then asks if there was anyone he knew on the boat. Desmond says, Penny. There was a photo. Penny was in the photo and gets up and walks over to a phone booth. Just then, another annoyed soldier purposely bumps into him to knock the change out of his hand. And as Desmond bends down to pick up the coins, he reappears back on the freighter.
Just bouncing back around.
Wait. I think I said earlier that my Facebook page was Zero Shame Stories, but that's not true. That's the podcast. The page is Zero Shame 40s. And also, Christy, I'm pretty sure we said Tiffany's name in episode 2, but you have MS brain and I have ADHD brain, and neither one of us can remember a fucking thing. We've been friends for like going on 25 years, and I think we've probably had the same 10 conversations 100 times over, and neither one of us knows.
Oh, probably. Yeah, most definitely.
Will we be a pair
Lisa
in
keeps
our
things
60s?
fresh.
What I want to know is who told you guys. What I want to know is who told you guys about Bill Gates' secret project, MS Brain.
Wow, do you know about that?
A Neuralink competitor.
He wants to send us all to hell, Bill Gates.
They put the microchips in my brain when they did the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I got mine with the vaccination. So
yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
Christy was the test case.
Yeah. Then they released COVID to.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was obviously Bill Gates, because that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Anyways, should we go back to 2004?
Yes, in 2004.
Where I had less memory problems. Sorry.
In 2004, Desmond nearly falls over, and one of the freighter guys says, whoa, watch your step. Desmond claims he's not there, and this isn't happening. The freighter guy is trying to reassure Desmond, who is frightened and confused. As they step through a doorway into a hallway, Desmond asks, who are you people? The guys introduce themselves as, all right, here we go. Kimi?
Yes.
Kimi,
you watched it, right? You heard him say Kimi.
Martin Kimi.
And Omar from Vegas and Florida.
Kimi is such a smarmy looking fuck.
I love him. I think he's perfectly cast.
Yeah,
well,
he's
that
perfectly
is true
cast.
because that's what he's cast as whenever you see him anywhere, because he just has that smarmy ass look on his face at all times.
Yeah, earlier on the scene when they're on the freighter, he's like, "Hey, you have my word," and when he says it, you're just like, "Yeah, like no."
Yeah.
You can really tell how much his word is worth.
Yeah.
What did you say, Dave?
So you can really tell how much his word is worth in that moment.
Yeah,
sure. A show that I liked called The Strain.
Oh, you've told us about that show before. Yeah. I remember, I think I first saw him in I think it's the original. No, it's not the original Deadpool. It's one of the Wolverine movies where Deadpool is totally different than the Deadpool in the Deadpool movies. And he's in that. He's in, like, the flashbacks was in Vietnam with Deadpool or with Wolverine or whatever. And he played, of course, a slimy asshole.
So they don't know where they are, but their last port was Fiji, so probably the Pacific. Omar opens the door to sickbay, and Desmond steps in. Kimi tells Desmond to wait there while they get the doc to sort everything out. Desmond asks, what do you mean, sort out? But they leave the room, and Kimi slams and locks the door. Desmond yells, I'm not supposed to be here. Open this door.
I'm not supposed to be here. I know why you're laughing,
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
God, you sound like an asshole.
It does sound like that. I don't know, Dave. You're young. Did you ever see Clerks?
I haven't seen it. I've seen a few Kevin Smith movies, but I've never actually seen any.
Clerks was great.
Yeah,
Clerks is great.
That's what I've heard. I know I say this every time you guys bring up a movie, but it's on the list.
I know, this is what happens when you hang out with Gen Xers. We're like forcing all of our movie culture on you.
Yeah, my generation, we just call it like Superbad and stuff like that.
That's nothing wrong with Superbad.
So it tells him to open this door. Just then, here's a voice from behind him. Hey. Desmond turns to see a man who says, it's happening to you, isn't it?
It's Fat Albert.
It's Fat Albert.
How fucking hilarious would it be if the camera pans around? There's just like this 400-pound black guy just lying in the bed.
Oh my goodness gracious. Fat Albert flipping through time. Okay.
So Saeed is on the deck studying the boat. He notices Kimi yelling at LAPidus before he walks over. Saeed asks him about what is happening to Desmond because it seems like his friends know. LAPidus claims if they do, they aren't sharing it with him. Saeed replies, then perhaps you'll share how he took off at dusk and landed in the middle of the day.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yep.
Indeed.
Slow-ass helicopter. Frank says he doesn't know what happened to Desmond, but he's trying to help. Saeed asks for the phone, and LAPidus says he'll trade it for the gun. They trade, and LAPidus tells him not to call Baghdad.
I mean, I guess that would be long distance.
Yeah. Even if he did, what are Baghdad going to do?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I felt like he was like worried about the toll charge or something.
He's just a cheapskate.
I feel like at this time, Baghdad had its own problems. That probably not.
It'd be so funny if he's like, if you're going to call Baghdad, make it collect.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not against it. He's just like, against the charges.
Oh, my goodness.
So on the beach, Jack's phone rings. He answers, and Saeed says he's made it to the freighter. Jack asks where the hell they've been. Saeed tells him that something happened during the flight and that Desmond is in sickbay. Jack puts him on speaker, and Saeed says, on the helicopter, something happened to Desmond. He doesn't appear to recognize me or know where he is. Jack turns to Daniel to ask if those are the side effects, and Daniel says, wait, your friend Desmond's? Has he recently been exposed to high levels of radiation or electromagnetism?
Ruh-roh.
Jack and
What a coinky dinky.
Yeah, I
it's like I don't know. I'm not his doctor. Oh, shit.
yeah.
I couldn't remember here because Jack just kind of gives like an sort of look. Is everybody aware of Desmond's?
I mean, they know he was in the hatch when it imploded, and they knew there was some kind of magnet down there because everything was sticking to the wall. So, I mean, his could be like, maybe. Looks that way. Yeah.
It's a...
Rat-row.
But Jack and Juliet have no idea. Faraday says that going to and from the island, some people get a little confused. Juliet asks if he means amnesia, and Dana replies, no, this is not amnesia.
Oh, dear.
So on the freighter, Desmond is leaning over the other man, trying to get his attention. Suddenly, the man blinks and says, I was just on a Ferris wheel. The doctor walks into the room, and the man says, see, Ray, I'm not crazy. It's happening to him, too, Ray. And it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to all of us, everyone, once we start heading to that island again. Ray draws a syringe up and asks Desmond to step aside. While the man is protesting, Ray preps to inject him. The man says, it's not going to stop it, Ray. Nothing can stop it. Ray injects him, and the man immediately
Not like
relaxes.
that, he didn't.
What did you do, Ray?
I couldn't.
I tried to think.
Popped in there.
Yeah.
Do injections on TV bother anyone else? Like,
injections?
Yes,
No.
like he gives him an injection and they always put it like where your vein might be, but then they put it in at an angle like you were doing an intramuscular injection. And it drives me absolutely bananas. Like you can't hit a vein coming down at that angle. And it drives me fucking crazy. I don't understand why medical stuff has to be so inaccurate.
It's a show about a magical island.
Oh,
That's why in medical school, this doctor was known as Stingray.
Nice.
Jabbing all the time.
Okay. It's a fantasy show, but can't they just show how to hit a vein? It's honestly not that hard.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I've never ever thought of that as.
You are clearly wrong, Caleb, because I obviously do care.
This gripe needs to queue up behind where the fucking torches come from, where the tarps come from.
Yep, all the tarps.
Yeah.
I picture them in the editing bay, like, okay, we're gonna have to cut out the emotional climax with Desmond and Penny because we need to show him, sterilizing the skin, preparing.
Exactly.
This whole
Autoclaving the needle. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just going to cut this whole section out while you were making fun of me.
With great power.
So Ray turns to Desmond and asks how he's feeling, and Desmond says, "What the bloody hell is going on?" Ray tells him that he is disoriented and needs to check his eyes. As he's doing so, Ray asks Desmond's name. Desmond tells him, and Ray says, "Desmond, why don't you tell me about the last thing you remember?" And we're back in 1996 in the rain. And he's picking up his coins. He puts them in the phone and calls Penny. It's a thing called a pay phone, by the way.
Yeah, Dave, there used to be phones on the streets.
Don't forget that I was alive in 1996. I was 5 years old, but I was making memories by then.
She's not happy to hear from him. He tries to tell her that he's in trouble and confused because something is happening to him. She's angry. He would call after leaving her to join the army and says, "You broke up with me and then you joined the army. And now you call with the expectation that I still care about you. Yeah, I say you're confused, Desmond."
Oh, he's got a pattern, doesn't he? Break up with a girl, join a monastery, break up with a girl, join the army.
Yep, he's a runner.
Yeah.
He tells her he's got 2 days of leave starting tonight and he wants to see her. She tells him no and not to come to the apartment because she's moved out. He wants to know where she went, but Penny says, "That doesn't matter. Look, Desmond, I'm going to go. Please just don't call me again." Desmond protests. "Look, now listen, Penny, I need..." And he's back in the sick bay in 2004 where he finishes the sentence. "Penny, I need you." Ray asked Desmond if he just experienced something as LAPidus and Saeed walk in the room. I did.
LAPidus.
I'm just going to call him Frank from now on.
Yeah.
Inside, walk into the room. Ray is angry that they're down there, but Frank says he's got Faraday on the phone for Desmond. Ray says there's no way Faraday is talking to his patient, and Saeed says he's not your patient, and then slams Ray against the wall. Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's what you get.
Only room for one doctor.
And that's the Silver Surgeon, bitch.
Saeed demands that Desmond gets the phone, and Ray sounds an alarm. Desmond takes the phone, and Saeed closes the door to buy a little more time. Desmond says hello, and Daniel replies, Desmond, my name is Daniel Faraday. We met yesterday before you took off, but I'm guessing you don't remember that. Am I right?" Desmond is confused, so Daniel asks, "Desmond, we don't have long to talk, so I need you to tell me what year you think it is." Desmond tells him that it's 1996. So Daniel asks him,
"Dave, you were 5 years old in 1996, right?"
Yeah, correct. Correct, Amanda.
You have to find Dave in Dublin.
When Penny picked up that phone, did anybody else Desmond's like, "I have to come see you"? Was anybody else like, "Oh, she's heard this before"? Like I'm having problems, Penny. I need to see you. Like, we all know what that's code for, right? Like, it's been a rough night,
Yeah.
I have 2 nights.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he gonna say? Like, I'm stuck in a time loop. Please come to the door.
Yes, the old time loop excuse. I'm stuck in a time loop.
Okay. Can save me
I guess so.
Time loop, blue balls, always an excuse.
We should all make a pact right now that if one of us ever calls any of the rest of the and says that we're stuck in a time loop, we should just believe. Okay. We should just be like,
"Oh, no.
I'll take your word for it."
Did you hear about the flight in China recently that was evacuated?
No.
So a guy on a flight.
This sounds like a joke setup, though.
No, it's absolutely not.
Okay.
There was a plane on a runway. They were getting ready to leave China recently, and a guy on the plane started basically shouting that he's stuck in a time loop. This is the 11th or 14th time he's been on this plane, and the plane always crashes. And people lost their shit, so they had to get everybody off the plane and redo everything. So,
what is it with planes these days? And this motherfucker is not real, and now I'm stuck in a time loop.
Oh, that crazy lady, it was in Dallas too.
Yeah, maybe that motherfucker wasn't real. You don't know that she's crazy.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, but I will tell you.
Was on that flight too.
Listen to what I'm telling you, and this is very serious. If anyone ever gets on a plane and says, "I've been on this plane before and it crashes," I come from the Final Destination generation. I'm getting off that fucking plane.
Yeah, if the latch on the seat back in front of me breaks, I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, yes, but I agree to the pack, Dave. If you tell me you're in a time loop,
thank you.
I'm going to
start. You realize I'm just going to start doing that at 3 a.m. in the morning to you guys, right?
Well, that's the other side of the coin of this pact, is that you're not ever allowed to lie about it either.
No crying wolf.
Otherwise, the pact means nothing.
I think the pact also sort of presupposes the idea that somebody's actually going to pick up their phone.
There's that too, yeah.
If you're in a time loop, would you necessarily know how to text, depending on how far back the time loop went? You might just look at the phone and be like, what the fuck is this thing?
It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm stuck in a ditch, and like Christy sees her phone and is like, fuck, I'm not picking this up. It's him and his time loop bullshit again.
Do you know
every time Caleb gets drunk,
I'm in a time loop. I can't get out, guys.
Do you know the shitty thing about the modern era is that like robocallers and like spam calls and stuff like that have basically rendered a very useful form of communication like completely redundant. Like
absolutely,
nobody wants to answer their phone anymore. It's like it used to be pretty useful to answer your phone, not anymore.
Yeah, no. Especially if it's an unknown number. I'm not answering that.
Yeah,
shit.
Never.
Yeah.
Do we need like a Lost in My 40s is my constant t-shirt maybe? That would be fun. That's what I think we should do. Speaking of which, we do have a new logo out. Go check shopspacebear.com. Our original logo, when I went to put it on the merch, I realized that I no longer had the file that had the right pixels, and so it would have looked really horrible, and I could only make small versions. So I did that on some of the items. I have like the small ones in a pattern, and it still works really well. But it inspired me to make a new logo, and I love it. So go there now, shopspacebear.com. And maybe by the time this is out, I'll have a Lost in My 40s is my constant t-shirt up there too. We'll
Gotta
see.
fill that merch store with something.
All right. Where the fuck were we?
We're in 2004.
Actually, I'm going to have we should do a shirt that says Paolo is my constant.
I will make that for you if you will wear
his
that.
Poop stick.
Mm. I don't know. Christy, have you looked at the new shop yet? There are some fun things in there. I was going to buy you an apron with our logo on it because they have them. Yeah, I thought that would be appropriate for you. But there's all kinds of fun stuff. I'm thinking about getting a phone case for myself too. So I carry it around and people go, "What's that?" And I'll be like, "Actually,
phone case."
That's
so it's a successful business model when the majority of our merch is purchased by us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah. I'm thinking about buying like 20 coffee mugs maybe, and then just taking them all to Goodwill, putting them on the shelves.
Oh my God.
Yeah, setting them on street corners like the guy that wrote House of Leaves did, just like putting his chapters just on random corners, hoping people would pick the shit up.
I didn't know somebody did that. Really?
Yeah, so Mark Danizlewski, when he wrote House of Leaves, what he would do was he would take like chapters, or he would make like almost like shoebox dioramas, and he would like just leave them on street corners, and when people picked them up, and it was in a very small area, I think in California somewhere. And people would pick it up, and they basically word got around that people were finding all this stuff, and it generated
buzz.
It generated buzz.
Yeah, what a neat idea.
A friend of mine actually did that with his one of his movies. They made like 25 VHS copies and went around Baltimore and Chicago and Philadelphia and a bunch of towns, and would just like kind of put them in random places to generate buzz.
That's so cool, Dave. VHS.
Do you know what VHS is?
Come on.
Oh, Jesus.
Alive in the 90s. God damn
it. Sorry, Dave. That's not where I was intending that to go.
All right, Derek. Get us back on track, damn it.
Okay, so they are in 2004, but Desmond tells him that it's 1996. So Daniel asks him where he is in 1996, and Desmond says, Camp Millar. It's a Royal Scots Regiment. It's just north of Glasgow. And Daniel replies, Desmond, listen.
No, let's try to not be American. We'll pronounce it right. Glasgow is what they would say.
Oh,
see? The Irishman's nodding.
No, we're
Glasgow.
American.
I always thought it was Royal Scots Regiment, and there was just lots of drinking involved.
Scotch. You see recruiters going around to college campuses.
There we go.
Join my regiment and get drunk.
I'm going to make you that t-shirt. I owe you one for Goopy Fruit, which looks beautiful on the merch, by the way. I put it on a pair of leggings, and the words Goopy Fruit wrap around the hip. And it looks amazing. I'm going to order it. I'm definitely going to wear my Goopy Fruit leggings.
I'm noticing your thoughts are on merch right now. You're very merch focused.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's come up in conversation. So I'm going to make you a Royal Scotch Regiment t-shirt, Caleb.
Okay.
Scotch.
Should be Scotch Regimen.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Royal Scotch Regimen. Perfect.
Yeah. So Daniel replies, Desmond, listen, when it happens again, Desmond, I need you to get on a train and go to Oxford University, Queen's College, physics department. All right. When Desmond questions why he'd do this, Faraday says, because I need you to find me.
What?
Isn't he so lucky that he's flashing back to a day where he's got 2 weeks leave ahead of him?
Yeah, right.
I know.
Exactly.
That's
I just had to go through the motions of like
convenient.
6 months of boot camp before he was able to go anywhere.
It's a good thing Faraday wasn't at Harvard or somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what a quickie dink. You're like a couple miles down the road. This works out just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen while he was like traveling around the world on his fucking boat.
Yeah. Or he's like an
Middle of the
anthropologist
ocean.
in the field somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like a 4-year-old.
exactly.
Barely form a sentence. He's like,
He warps back to whenever he's an infant. So on the island, Daniel is searching through his backpack to find his journal. He says, I need my journal. I won't believe him. Jack wants to know why Desmond thinks it's 1996, and Daniel says, I don't know. It's unpredictable. It's a random effect. Sometimes it takes place for only a couple of hours. Sometimes it's years.
Amazing that he knows that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how does he know that?
Oh, he is a font of knowledge about what is happening in this episode. I mean,
I guess we kind of know in a way, like, because later in the episode he's doing the studies on the mouse, right? So he probably extrapolated.
Okay. So you think, he just continued the studies.
Yeah,
well, not with Eloise because she
I think he's
bites
got 8
the
years
dust.
of studying this shit behind him.
Oh, okay. So through mouses. I almost said through.
yeah, I
mouse.
mean, he's on this team for a reason. He was selected on this
That
team
was
for a
a
very
rat,
specific
though.
reason.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
thought it was
true.
a rat.
It's bigger. I mean, it's bigger than a mouse.
Oh, yeah. Is Eloise
My
a
dad
rat?
had pet rats, so it was a
They're,
rat.
they're metric mice over there, so they're.
Oh, that's right. So they're meese.
Very good.
Right.
There's a moose loose about this house.
There's a moose loose about this house.
Jack is surprised that this has happened before. Daniel finds his journal and takes the phone back. Saeed is blocking the door. Daniel confirms Desmond is on the phone and then says, okay, Desmond, listen. When you find me at Queen's College, I need you to tell me to set the device to 2.342, and it must be oscillating at 11 hertz. Just remember that. 2.342 and 11 hertz, all right? And one more thing, Desmond. If the numbers don't convince me, I need you to tell me that you know about Eloise. Kimi and Omar burst through the door while Faraday screams into the phone, Desmond, tell me that you know about Eloise. And Kimi snatches the phone from Desmond.
I imagine Kimi, when he comes in, he just starts like putting like shaving cream on people and like giving them wedgies. He just seems like a kind of asshole to me.
Swirly.
Is that what happened to you when you were a kid, honey? Did you wear shaving cream and get wedgies?
No,
Yeah.
he reminds me of the type of,
Random.
he just looks like the kind of dude that would do that. Just the
I told
kind
you,
of
he's
hazing
like-
bully type.
Smarmy face. That's what he looks
Yeah,
like. He
God,
looks like
it's
an
really
asshole.
bad.
It's
He
like
does.
resting bitch face for a woman. He just looks
Yeah.
like a dick.
He does look like
Yeah.
a dick. You guys, so when I was kind of going through stuff like making notes about this episode, I discovered that 11 hertz is actually a wavelength associated with the production of endorphins in your brain.
Really?
It's also in Tibetan meditation. It's the frequency that helps the brain achieve a relaxed focus. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's a great
That is
fact.
interesting. I wonder-
That has to have been intentional.
That's what I was just going to say. I wonder, like, knowing that certainly sounds
Yeah.
intentional,
The
doesn't
Lost
it?
Riders
Yeah.
are all up on their like spiritual and philosophical shit.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they probably
Yeah.
did that on purpose.
My best
Yeah.
farts are generally at 11 hertz.
This
Well,
one
and-
goes to 11.
Not only endorphins were released with that.
Oh, my goodness.
But apparently, alpha brainwaves like cycle between 8 to 12 hertz, with 10 being peak. And then it's also, for reasons I couldn't quite find, considered the divine frequency. I only saw that pop up like in a couple places with no explanation. But my assumption it would go back to kind of the Zen meditation or Tibetan meditation thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
you don't need an explanation. You just need to believe.
Believe that?
So yeah.
Yeah, well.
I couldn't find anything about the accompanying 2.342, but if you want to get even wooier with it, 432 hertz is a frequency that apparently heightens perception and increases mental clarity of a person. And also is a frequency used to prevent anxiety and at lower heart rate and blood pressure.
Interesting. How do they test this? Just in a lab, they just do that and then like test your blood before and after?
I would assume somewhere out there got a grant for it. I mean,
they get grants for shrimp on treadmills.
So.
That's just below an A, isn't it? Isn't 440 hertz an A? Like as far as the pitch,
musical note.
Yeah,
it's not the brown note, right?
So. No. I thought 440 was A.
Wow.
I like 1.21 gigawatts.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I just Googled the divine frequency, and I guess it's because by way of producing the endorphins, it relieves pain and elevates mood. And so some use that, it says in meditation, like that gets you into the trance and according to them, allows you to get connected with the universe. I mean, that, it says universe, God, or a creator. So probably, it makes sense that it's meditation that calls it that. Interesting.
There you go.
97.5 FM, the divine frequency would be a great name for a religious radio show.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny.
Has to have been done before.
Okay, so he's back in 1996. Desmond reappears in the phone booth. He travels to Queens College, walks down a hall, and sees Daniel berating a student. Not a single piece of original thinking. You do understand the concept of original, the opposite of derivative. Now I'm the one you need to impress, Mr. Hollister, and I'm not impressed. So go try again. Desmond interrupts to tell Daniel that he thinks he's just been to the future. He explains that future Daniel told him to come here and to speak with him to get help. Daniel says, why would I put you through the headache of time travel, You know what I mean? It just seems a little unnecessary. And don't you think that my esteemed colleagues could have come up with something just a little more believable, huh? What kind of prank is that? Huh, paradox, so uninspired. Desmond tells him to set the device to 2.342, oscillating at 11. When Faraday questions who gave him those numbers, Desmond says it was him. Daniel tries to say this is ridiculous when Desmond replies, I know about Eloise.
Whoa.
It would be funny if Daniel doubled down right then and said, okay, what about her? What do you know about her?
Uh-oh.
The whole episode stops right there.
The end, Desmond dies.
Daniel and Desmond are now in Daniel's office, which is full of science-y type stuff. He tells Desmond, this is where I do the things Oxford frowns upon. All right, this future version of me, he referenced in this meeting, right? Obviously, so I would remember you coming to Oxford, right? I would remember this here right now. Desmond wonders if maybe Daniel forgot, and Daniel says, yeah, right. How would that happen? Desmond asks if what they are doing now is changing the future, but Faraday claims you can't change the future.
So we're just going to ignore the whole part where he says, this is where I do the things that Oxford frowns upon, which is so ambiguous.
Yeah.
Is he like a mad scientist?
I know. Like the typical mad scientist room with like the Tesla coils everywhere and like a rat maze. It's just like, come on, man.
Or does he just mean jerking off?
That's what I'm saying. Like Desmond like walks in and he's just beating it. Like
this is my spank chair.
He could be like John Noble's character on Fringe, who is like a crazy scientist with no ethics whatsoever.
Course. The scientist that can do everything.
Yes.
There's that episode of Silicon Valley where they're discussing jerking people off on the whiteboard and like drawing the equations. That's
oh my god!
Trying to figure out how many dicks you would be able to jerk off or whatever. Yeah, that's amazing.
Like at one time.
Yeah, dicks per hour.
Yes,
dicks per hour.
Yeah, my record is 2.
Well, I think the way that they the conclusion they come to, I think, essentially is 4, because if you're tip to tip, you could just in both hands.
Holy moly!
Oh yeah, a little docking going on.
Got it on a whiteboard and everything.
They're like accounting for various lengths. Yeah. It's hilarious. It's so good. I gotta watch that.
Well, I mean, you could also do it kind of like how people spin plates. You get it going and then let it ride for a second, and then you go over to the other 2, and then you go back. Yeah. I think I could work it out.
If you guys haven't watched that clip, you should go check it out. It's hysterical.
I've never seen it Silicon Valley at all.
Me neither.
It's good stuff.
It's a good show.
I've heard that, yeah. What about Lost?
So Daniel puts on a coat to protect himself from radiation and tells Desmond he doesn't need one because it's for prolonged exposure. Daniel does this 20 times a day. Damn, that's going to be sore. Yeah, shooting blanks.
Oh my God.
All nards.
He flips some switches and pulls out a white rat who he introduces as Eloise, and then tells Desmond that if the numbers he gave him are correct, the machine will unstick Eloise in time, just like Desmond. He presses a button and Eloise sort of disappears into a purple-white light and then reappears. Daniel lifts the flap and she runs into a maze. Daniel is cheering her on, and when she makes it through, he says, "Oh, it worked. This is incredible." Desmond doesn't understand what's so incredible, so Daniel says, "What is incredible is I just finished the maze this morning. I'm not going to teach her to run it until an hour from now."
Oh my God.
So how did he know exactly what time Desmond would appear?
Yeah, I guess he just has to assume that it finished it before he thought it normally could finish it if it hadn't learned it, so obviously it had gone to the future. Yeah.
I don't know. Rats are smart. Maybe it just figured it out first time.
Probably did.
That's actually true too. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, my dad had pet rats, and those things are really smart.
I had rats.
It had time to figure it out. He wasn't really watching. He had let it. He was too busy spanking it, and Eloise had figured out how to get through the maze already.
Oh my God.
That's how he tracks time. That's just how he times everything out.
Rat's finished before I am.
Oh God.
Desmond asks if she was sent to the future, and Daniel tells him just her consciousness. What?
Do you think like his department head ever has to come in and be like, "Daniel, like how far are you in this project?" He's about 40 wanks in.
40 wanks.
Daniel runs over to a board and starts erasing things. Desmond wants to know how all this helps him, and Daniel wonders if he's supposed to help him at all. He asks, "Didn't I send you back here to help me?" Desmond tells him he doesn't know why he sent him, but he knows Daniel is on an island, to which Daniel replies, "An island? What island? Where? Why would I go to an island?"
I mean, that's a good question.
Tropical drinks with the little umbrellas in them, maybe?
Yeah. Vacation.
You want to wank somewhere other than your office? I mean,
wank by the ocean. Yeah.
He's already on an island, the island of Great Britain.
Oh my God, that's a really good point.
Yep.
I've been doing that lately. It's like a little social bit I've been doing. If I meet someone from the Caribbean or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, I grew up by that island life," and I'm like, "Yeah, me too." Grew up on the island of Ireland, you know.
So back in 2004, Desmond is back on the freighter, still struggling for the phone. Kimi takes it from him, and LAPidus is trying to calm the situation down. Kimi is pissed that he let Desmond talk to Faraday. Frank thought he could help, but Kimi says Faraday can't even help himself. Omar.
Obviously he can.
Yeah.
Yep, he helps himself daily. Omar tells Frank that the captain wants to see him right away. Saeed says he wants to speak to the captain as well, and Kimi replies, "I'll be sure to let him know. In the meantime, have a seat." They leave Saeed, Desmond, and the other time-traveling man locked in the sick bay. Desmond is shining a light pin in his eye, saying he has to get back. Saeed is confused and asks Desmond to explain himself. Upon hearing the name Desmond, the other man says, "Desmond? You're Desmond?" When Desmond asks if they know each other, the man replies, "I'm George Minkowski."
I bet you're wondering why I'm tied down to this bed. It's because Dan and I are colleagues.
You're right, Derek. He is. He was in Hackers. The bad guy. He's the villain.
Get a little bad. Yeah, was it Pinteller?
Yeah,
Fisher Stevens. Yeah, he was in Short Circuit also.
Yeah,
right. I was
right.
going to say he was in a shit ton of movies in the.
Wasn't he in
80s.
Revenge of the Nerds?
Quite possibly.
I don't think so.
I thought he was in that one, or like Porky's or one of those for some reason.
He was in Short Circuit, so clearly he did a lot of problematic movies back then. So
That was a great movie.
he played the Indian guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is problematic.
Number 5 is alive.
Number 5.
My name is Ben. I spell it Ben.
Yeah.
That's right.
God.
Oh my God, you're right. He played. Oh, that's so bad. There's so many problems. I mean, Ben just brought up the movie Porky's. For fuck's sake, I can't even imagine watching that now. Like that.
Dude,
that
Revenge
was
of the Nerds is so rapey.
terrible.
The rapist
terrible.
and the rapist.
Oh my!
16 Candles too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Again, it was like that's what we were taught romance was, and now I look at like that's a sick, abusive situation. That's
even
not
Blade
good.
Runner's got kind of a rapey scene too.
Yeah, it very much does. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of rape scenes in A Clockwork Orange too.
Oh
yeah. Well, those are.
But that's
Yeah.
Right.
That's intentionally rapey.
An outstanding movie, by the way. But
It is.
We talked about that on a previous podcast. I can't remember when or why, but we were talking about Kubrick for some reason,
and
you
said
hadn't
something
seen
about
it.
how you like fucked up movies, and you made me watch that one with
Requiem for a
Jared
Dream.
Leto.
Oh yeah, Requiem for a Dream.
You mean Requiem
Yeah.
for a Dream?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a great movie, but it's fucked up.
Yeah.
We talked about Clockwork Orange because of the scenes where Carl was in the in the reprogramming chamber or whatever.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah. So Dave, watch Porky's and come back and let us know what you
Don't.
think.
It's terrible.
Don't.
It's not good.
It's
Watch
legitimately
a real classic from the 80s, Mannequin.
horrific.
There's a classic.
I've got so much homework from this.
Oh my God. Well, Mannequin stars one of the Sex and the City gals way back in the
Oh yeah,
day.
Kim Cattrall.
Yeah.
And Andrew something.
McCarthy.
Andrew McCarthy.
I have a friend here in Toronto who works on movie sets, and she's working on the new Kim Cattrall show. And she said that Kim Cattrall is a delight.
Really?
Really?
Really
Nice.
nice lady, apparently. Shout out.
Oh, shout out, Kim. I'm sure you listen. she was also the best on Sex and the City. I know they have
She
kind
was
of a
in
bad.
Porky's too.
She wasn't.
What we need to do
Oh
is
my
we need to.
God,
Yeah,
you're
she
right.
was-
She was in
wasn't
Porky's. How
What
weird.
we need to do is we need to get some of the merch mugs to Dave, and then he can give them to his friend, who can then give them to Kim Cattrall.
Oh, she could just
There we
drop
go.
them
There we
around the
go.
set. Oh, she
you
just
go.
give them to
Oh,
the
yeah.
give them to the interns and to have them bring her coffee
Yeah.
in our mug. This is a plan. I mean, this is like a legit plan.
I should say that they've wrapped shooting, so let's hope they get another season, and then she'll be able to do that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, plan
Plus,
in the
some-
works.
Some
Wowza.
random crew member runs up on Kim Cattrall's like, "Here, take this mug." She's probably gonna be like, "Fuck off!" Like,
I don't think so.
no matter how good she is, like
She's like, I knew I should have been so nice to these rubes on set.
Yeah.
No, they just bring her a coffee. It has our logo on it. When she gets to the bottom of the glass, it'll just be like, "Samantha, I love you. Call me." And that's it.
What could go wrong?
Or it says you peaked in Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, don't be mean.
Oh no!
No, that's
Police
not an
Academy,
insult.
too.
That's a great movie.
Well,
That
yes,
is
but she
great.
It
didn't
is,
peak.
but that's not when she peaked.
No, because
She was in
Samantha
Police
was.
Academy too.
Oh yeah.
For my taste,
No.
that's when she peaked.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you don't watch Sex and the City. She's fucking
Correct.
fantastic
God, no.
on that. Wow, what the fuck are we even talking about right now?
George Minkowski. It got
George
us-
Minkowski.
Yeah.
He sent us back to 1986.
So Minkowski says, I'm the communications officer. Before they strapped me down here, all the
Giggity.
calls to and from this boat came through me in the radio room. And every so often I get this flashing light on my console, an incoming call. We were under strict orders never to answer it. Desmond doesn't understand what any of that has to do with him until Minkowski says, those calls were from your girlfriend, Penelope Widmore.
What?
Is that the first time we're learning that name?
No.
No. Okay.
what these two go through for booty calls is just ridiculous.
Oh my
Seriously.
God.
Crazy.
No, we definitely know Penny. We've seen her in many episodes, but it's the closest...
Widmore part, though. Do we know that?
Oh, yeah. We know, because we know he asked her dad for permission and over the scotch and stuff. But it's the closest he's come to contact with her since Charlie saw her on the screen in Hydra Station. Yeah. No, that's not. What's the station underwater? Why can't I think of its name?
It's the Looking Glass.
It is. Okay.
Hydra.
Yeah. So Desmond wakes back up in 1996 in Daniel's office, and Daniel's just rubbing one out.
He asks what happened. Daniel brings him a tissue.
Hold on, I'm finishing.
My work.
He's like, you're covered in ectoplasm from the time travel.
Oh, the spooky ghost.
Why does it smell like bleach in here?
Oh my God.
Faraday tells him that he's been gone for 75 minutes after
or
going
5 wanks.
Yeah.
5
a lot of wanking, 75 minutes. After going catatonic in the middle of a sentence, Desmond says for him, he was only gone 5 minutes. Daniel says, in your case, I'm guessing that progression is exponential.
What? He knows this already?
Yeah, absolutely.
He knows.
Each time your consciousness jumps, it gets harder and harder to jump back. I would be careful.
God damn it.
Okay. I would be careful crossing the street if I were you. And then Desmond sees Eloise dead. He asks what happened, and Daniel says, she died.
She's dead. That's what happened.
So Desmond knew that part, so he asked for info, like why, and will it also happen to him? Daniel doesn't know exactly why. Maybe an aneurysm. He says the effects vary case by case, and Desmond slams him against the wall and says, if this keeps happening, am I going to die? Daniel says he thinks Eloise's brain is short-circuited, and she couldn't tell between the jumps anymore because she had no anchor.
How the hell does he know this?
Yeah, I know. It's happened before. I
know. It's random for everyone. So the rat told you where they went and exactly what the effects were.
Multiple conversations with Eloise.
Yeah.
What would a rat's anchor be?
I don't know.
Cheese.
Yeah, cheese.
A mousetrap would keep him anchored.
That's true.
Ow.
So Desmond questions the meaning of anchor, and Daniel says something familiar in both times. All this is all variables. It's random. It's chaotic. Every equation needs stability, something known. It's called a constant. Desmond, you have no constant. When you go to the future, nothing there is familiar. So if you want to stop this, then you need to find something there, something that you really, really care about, and that also exists back here in 1996.
Ooh, I wonder who that could be.
Yeah. Desmond wants to know if his constant can be a person. Daniel says, yeah, maybe, but he has to make contact. And isn't he on a boat in the middle of nowhere? Desmond begins dialing the phone and says, I'm calling my bloody constant. The voice of an operator could be heard saying, now an operator was a person that you would call if you need, Dave.
All right.
The voice of an operator can be heard saying, the number you have dialed has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you've reached this recording in error, please try your call again. Yeah. Desmond slams the phone down and tries to leave, but then collapses. Back in 2004, Desmond wakes up on the freighter. Saeed asks if he's okay, and Minkowski tells him he looks a lot older now.
Wow.
Desmond says, I need to call Penny. Saeed doesn't think calling his girlfriend is a priority right now, but Desmond says, listen, brother, I don't know you, but you seem to know me. So if you and me are like friends, then I need your help. I need to call Penny now. Minkowski chimes in to say that all the equipment was sabotaged and he didn't have time to fix it before he went nuts. Saeed wants to know where the radio room is, and Minkowski says he'll take them there. And they just notice a convenient open door.
Oh.
And Minkowski says, looks like you guys have a friend on this boat. Minkowski's nose starts to bleed. Saeed says it's clear and tells them to move.
Whoa. Who's their friend on the boat, Derek?
Yeah, I know. That's,
There's a little man on the boat, huh?
Yeah. Desmond's back at 96, wakes up in a stairwell at Oxford, gets up and runs down the stairs right into an auction. Convenient. The auctioneer says the Black Rock set sail from Portsmouth, England on March 22nd, 1845 on a trading mission to the Kingdom of Siam when she was tragically lost at sea. The only known artifact of this journey is the journal of the ship's first mate, which was discovered among the artifacts of pirates on the Ile Sainte Marie off the coast of Madagascar 7 years later. The contents of this journal have never been made public or known to anyone outside the family of the seller, Tovard Hanso.
Ooh.
Oh, there's a name we know.
We begin the bidding on lot 2342
Oh.
at 150,000 pounds. That's pretty heavy.
It's so weird because they use kilograms over there too. What the fuck is with that?
What the hell?
I don't think they do in the UK. I think it's mainland Europe. Like we grew up with the imperial system in Ireland.
Oh, that's
switched
true.
to metric now.
I think England still
That's
uses.
true.
Yeah.
But they do say,
bidding-
like, can I get a pint? Isn't that metric?
Pints, quarts, and gallons.
Pints,
Because
quarts,
they
and
use
gallons, that's all
liters.
that's
Liters
yeah,
and
Oh, I
liters.
guess you're right.
Liter of cola.
Taking a lot of
Oh.
science in high school and college, we just use the metric system because it makes sense.
Yeah, it
I've
makes
been
way more
buying
sense.
weed since I was a teenager. That's where I learned the metric system.
Like I went to a horse track recently, and they measure horses with hands. Like it's like
They do.
15 hands tall, but like, what if it's like a? I mean, what's a hand like?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
It's
hilarious.
really
Size
tiny
hands.
little hands.
Yeah.
Right. You're
too. That's the hilarious thing about all those old measurements. It was like
bushels
based on
and
the
pecks
fucking
and
based on the length of the king's dick or whatever.
Yeah.
Like 14 throws of the Wellington or whatever.
Oh my God.
You start measuring from the taint. Everyone knows this.
They probably measured it in hands because when it came around, it was only men that would be doing it anyway. And so they'd have relatively, bigger hands or whatever. I think you can translate hand into inches now. They have something that's more standard, but that is the original measurement.
I only takes
Derek's
one
saying-
hand. I don't need
Derek's
two
Googling.
hands. So yeah. When I'm not Googling, I'm just seeing how many hands it takes.
Oh my God.
As the bidding continues, Desmond tries to enter, but is stopped by a guard. The item is sold for 380,000 pounds to bidder 755, who happens to be none other than Charles Widmore.
Oop.
Desmond signals for his attention, and Widmore agrees to speak to him. Now, in the bathroom, Widmore stops urinating and starts washing his hands before asking Desmond what he wants.
That's a power move.
I want you to eat
Yeah,
less
it is.
asparagus.
Yeah,
Desmond says he needs Penny's new phone number, and Widmore replies, "There was a time when if you'd asked her to marry you, I'm certain she would have said yes. Unfortunately, your cowardice won out instead. I take it you had second thoughts and you like to give her to give you another chance." Desmond wonders why Widmore hates him so much, and Widmore says it's Penny who hates Desmond, and then gives Desmond her address so she can tell him too.
Yow.
It doesn't turn off the water.
No, he doesn't.
So Desmond jumps back to 2004 on the freighter, where Minkowski is telling him that it only gets harder and faster the longer it happens.
Ew.
There you go.
Talking about Faraday again? Or?
Yeah. Daniel chimes in. Oh, trust me, I've done a lot of research on this.
Oh, yeah. Desmond wants to know how it happened to Minkowski, who tells him, "We were anchored here waiting for our orders, bored out of our minds, me and Brandon." He's one of the crew members we took off the ship's tender. "We just wanted to see the island, but Brandon started acting crazy, so we had to turn around." Desmond wants to know where Brandon is, and Minkowski tells him he's in a body bag.
Oof.
They enter the room, and it's destroyed. Minkowski has no idea who smashed everything and then passes out in Desmond's arms. Saeed says, "After your call, someone has to tell me precisely what is going on." As he is repairing the equipment, he asks
Of
Desmond,
course, Republican Guard training coming through again.
Yeah.
Some
any
random
equipment he
fucking
can
freighter
fix, yeah.
that he can just, I'm on it. This will take me 10 minutes.
That room is demolished, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's because he's the G. So
He is.
That's
MacGyver, man.
Yep.
That's right.
He hasn't had pussy in months, so he's firing on all
Oh, he's on
cylinders.
point now.
point,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Supernatural.
3 months ago,
focused.
he'd be worthless.
Yeah.
I know.
We're just drooling over the equipment. I don't know what to do.
I know.
Oh my God.
As he's repairing the equipment, he asks Desmond if he has the phone number. Minkowski starts seizing, and Desmond is begging for him to wake up. Saeed again asks for the number, but Desmond doesn't know it. They notice a calendar on the wall with the days crossed off. It's December 24th, 2004. Saeed says, I didn't realize it was almost Christmas. Desmond's nose begins to bleed, and Mikowski flails, saying, I can't get back, and then drops dead.
Yikes.
Saeed says, what happened to him? And Desmond replies, the same thing that's going to happen to me.
Can I just shout out my friend James, who during this episode is celebrating his 20th birthday?
Wait, well, happy birthday, James.
Happy birthday, James.
Well, I mean, like December 24th, 2004. That was his 20th birthday.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Jane. I'm like looking around, like your friend James is here.
Where is
surprise.
Disappeared behind you. Yeah.
Another guest.
Wait, you can cut that out if you want.
Is he the one on the boat? Is he Ben's man on the boat?
Yeah.
Does James listen?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think you listen to my podcast. So.
Just in case, James.
Anyway, does anyone else do that where they say your birthday in a TV show and you're like, I was just doing it on my friend's behalf.
I see my birthday. People say my birthday all the time now because it's the same as the president's.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You and Biden share a birthday?
We do. Different years.
Yeah.
Really? Don't say.
Different centuries.
Yeah.
I got a podcast, Jack. It's called Lost in My 80s.
I imagine Christy and I will definitely be, if we're alive in our 80s, we're going to be like goldfish. We won't remember anything for 30 seconds. And we'll probably just drink mimosas and have the same conversation over and over again. That'd be fun.
I remember 40 years ago, we did Lost in the 40s.
And mercifully, you won't fucking run for president.
Yeah. When my parents got married, I had to tell them that they got married on Hitler's birthday because they didn't realize it. Which April is also 30th. Yeah.
No, wait, April 20th. Right.
Yeah,
30th.
It's 420. Yeah.
420, yeah.
So on 420, it's my favorite holiday, Hitler's birthday, and my parents' anniversary. It's a weird day.
So back in 1996, Desmond wakes up on the floor of the bathroom where the sink is overflowing. He gets up, splashes water on his face, and looks at himself in the mirror. He then grabs the address and heads to Penny's house. When she answers the door, he tells her he's there because her phone was disconnected. Penny says, yeah, because I moved. Look, I don't know if you're getting the signals, Desmond, but I'm trying to make a clean break from you. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna... Desmond,
he's not getting the signals because you're not transmitting at 11 hertz, you cheeky bitch.
Yep.
I mean, he's heard this all before too, you know. Yeah. He knows where this is going. He just hangs in there long enough.
Just 8 years. Desmond asks her for her new phone number and then says, because I made a huge mistake. I never should have broken up with you, and I know that now, and I'm sorry, and I understand. And I know if it's too late to change things, but I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen to me. And I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but please, Penn, I need you to listen to me. She lets him inside.
This is how most conversations begin before you get sucked into a multi-level marketing scam.
I was gonna say, it is amazing, like, that she does give him the time of day here, because he seems batshit. He's like, he seems like unhinged, like her physical safety could be at risk, you know.
I also feel like this is how a lot of anger bangs happen.
There's more. She lets him inside and he continues, I know this doesn't make any sense because it doesn't make any sense to me, but 8 years from now, I need to call you, and I can't call you if I don't have your number. That's a way to ask for a number. I'm going to try that in the bar next time.
I'm going to call you in 8 years.
But I can call you in 8 years. My life will depend on it. Oh, okay.
You got nothing to lose, man. Go for it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to look a lot better 8 years from now. Come on.
Look, Penny, just give me your number, and I know I've ruined things, and I know you think things are over between us, but they're not. If there's any part of you that still believes in us, just give me your number. She wants to know what's going to keep him from calling tonight or tomorrow, and Desmond says, I won't call for 8 years. December 24th, 2004, Christmas Eve, I promise.
I love his delivery there. Like, I won't call for 8 years.
Brilliant.
And he just reminds her that's Christmas Eve, too. So. Please, Penn. She wants to know if she gives him the number, if he'll leave. He says, I. So she says,
8675309. Did we just do the same joke?
I got your number.
I would like to point out to the listeners that was not written in the outline. Derek and I just sang that at the same time. Because
the actual
we're cool
number,
like that.
which I don't think this is a real number, is 79460893.
What's probably funny, though, is he was trying to keep that in his mind, and when he comes back to the present, the radio is working, and all of a sudden, 8675309 comes on, and he can't remember it anymore.
He's like, God damn it!
Shit! Damn it, Saeed! Quit fucking with the radio.
Yeah. He repeats it, and she's surprised he isn't writing it down. He says, "It wouldn't do any good. You have to keep that number. You can't change that." But before he can finish, Penny yells, "Just get out! Get out!" Desmond is desperate and says, "Just remember, December 24th, 2004, if you still care about me, you'll have to." The door slams in his face. Still pleading outside, Desmond says, "I'm not crazy, Penny. You have to believe me. You have to." Yeah, he was really desperate in that scene. Holy crap.
Well, and the thing is, like, apparently she does. She thinks on it, and she believes him because she's looking for him in the island. She was there to answer the phone. But, yeah.
So did he just, vanish after that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, he keeps walking away.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah.
My guess is that Charles Widmore ended up hooking up his daughter with a series of total fuckwits, and then after about 8 years, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to slumming."
This is probably actually when he gets thrown in jail for deserting the Queen's army or whatever.
Oh, Scotch army.
Well,
Scotch regiment.
Yeah. I guess if he didn't get back on leave from his leave,
court-martialed to the Bourbon Brigade.
We're busting you down to the sergeant in charge of the booze.
Hey, I'd love that job.
So in 2004, Desmond is back on the freighter and finishes the sentence, "Trust me." Saeed replies, "I do trust you, but you still have to remember the number." Desmond says 79460893. It's a London number. Saeed says this is excellent timing because the patch is done.
Of course it is.
Job, McDiver. Did it.
Seriously.
Yeah. Saeed also unsurprisingly knows the London area code offhand.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
Yep. He doesn't know how long the battery will last, of course. The phone starts ringing and plays over a brief scene from 96 when Desmond leaves Penny's house. She briefly looks down at him from a second-story window before closing the drapes. After several rings, someone picks up the phone, and one of the greatest scenes in television history is born. Yeah, there was dust flying around my apartment.
Oh, got in your eyes.
I cry every time I see this. Little peek behind the curtain is that, we had to reschedule the recording of this episode. So I watched this a couple months ago, and then I watched it again for this recording, and I cried both times.
Again?
You think it would have taken the sting out of it the second time because I'd seen it so recently, but holy shit, I was inconsolable.
Same.
I rewatched it after the hiatus, and
that scene and Charlie's death and a few in further seasons that I won't talk about because Derek can't hear them. But there are moments every time I rewatch it, I'm like, all right, this is the time I'm going to keep it together, and I can't. It brings back all of the emotion from the first time I saw it, and I just lose it again.
Mm-hmm. I cry every time I watch Armageddon. I mean,
same. Same. I can't watch Armageddon or Moulin Rouge without sobbing like a baby.
Or Steel Magnolias with that.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
Iron Giant.
Yeah. Oh,
Iron Giants.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Anywho.
Titanic. Damn ship sinks every time.
I'm in the same boat. Like I get a little teary-eyed over this scene, but I can't help but notice how actually horribly edited it is. It really is. It's really tough to I guess I know what they were trying to do. Obviously they're completing each other's sentences, blah blah blah,
Right.
But stacking things together that quickly in that staccato pattern, it's not a good thing. Particularly in
a lot of lay people said, "Oh, that's a great scene, the way they cut back and forth." But
and I mean, initially, kind of it is. You're caught up in the moment and whatnot.
Right.
But I think when you watch it a couple of times, right, like you notice it, it's kind of like they could have given them a little bit more breathing room. And I know that's what they're trying not to do, actually.
But, well, I think they
the battery's dying.
Yeah, they add to add to the urgency, right? But I think it's also like it is. I don't know. I think it's well edited because they still managed to convey this like emotional climax in this short time. I can see where you're coming from, Caleb, I guess, but I feel like they did do it intentionally this way because it is like somewhat manipulative, but it works. Like they stick the landing.
Get that heart rate up.
I mean,
because they're
by nature, editing is manipulative, right? So
exactly.
But again, like I guess it's just like I don't know. It was a little too quick for me, I guess, is kind of what it came down to.
Yeah. I think like you and I kind of we disagree on that stuff. I like that, and another episode we were on, you were talking about too many flashbacks and how you don't like the flashback when there's so many. But I think there's like a couple of episodes where they do that, and it's so many flashbacks, but it's kind of doing the same thing as the way this is edited, where it's like ramping you up because you can't get a break from it. And so it like causes a little bit of stress and anxiety, which I think they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, no, again, I agree. That's what they're trying to achieve. And they did it. I mean, for sure. But the more and more I watched, the more and more I was like, it just felt like just a few more frames, I think, would have done it, because it's you guys have tried splicing audio together, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's very problematic. It's very tough. So.
Yeah, we have to do it all the time because we go off the rails, or technical issues, or we blab too much and have to cut.
Yeah. Having had my own podcast, this episode wouldn't be the first time editing has made me cry.
Yeah. Oh no! Yeah, it is. It is not easy. Anyways, Derek, shall we do the big scene?
So Penny says hello, and Desmond says Penny, and Penny says Desmond. Again, the scene briefly changes back to 1996 as Desmond is walking away from her home, and then he says, Penny, you answered. Penny can be seen in 2004 standing next to her Christmas tree. She asks him where he is, and he tells her he's on a boat. And he's been on an island.
On a boat, motherfucker.
The boat engine makes noise, motherfucker. Okay, so he tells her he's on a boat, and he's been on an island, and then says, oh my God, Penny, is that really you? You believe me? You still care about me? Penny replies, Des, I've been looking for you for the past 3 years. I know about the island. I've been researching. Static interrupts, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I spoke to your friend, Charlie, that's when I knew you were still alive. That's when I knew I wasn't crazy. Des, are you still there? Desmond says he is, and that he loves her, and he's always loved her. Penny replies, I love you too. Desmond says he doesn't know where he is, so Penny says, I'll find you, Des. They're almost talking over each other, each one taking a part of a complete sentence. Desmond, I promise. Penny, no matter what. Desmond, I'll come back to you. Penny, I won't give up. And then together, I promise, I love you.
Oh, water.
Should have rickrolled that scene. Never gonna give
you up.
Never gonna
let you down.
I'm just saying that if it wasn't Sonia Vulgar and Henry Ian Cusick, two fabulously good-looking people, if these were like troglodytes, the scene would not hit very hard, is all I'm saying.
So just then, Static cuts them off and Penny is gone. Saeed apologizes for the battery running out, like it was his fault. Why didn't you fix it better? Damn it. You fix everything.
He wasn't in class that day for the car. That was where
Desmond walks towards him as a memory of Saeed returns. He says, thank you, Saeed. And when Saeed asks if he's okay, Desmond replies, I'm perfect.
Oh.
Full of yourself, too. Jeez.
Yeah, I also like how he says it was enough.
Yeah, you're right.
So the scene then changes for the last few seconds of the show. Daniel can be seen on the beach, flipping through his journal. He finds the page he's looking for, and on it, he's written, If anything goes wrong, Desmond Hume will be my constant. Lost title screen. End of the best fucking episode of the series so far.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What an ending, too. What a fucking ending.
Shit.
I love when Lost does this, too, when you feel like you've wrapped up the story and then they just throw this little nugget and it's like, what is this now? Oh, God, I love this show.
Yep, that's what I thought.
That is what you thought? All right, we will talk more about how much you loved this episode, Derek, in a bit. How about some fun facts?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I thought this week it might be fun to answer the question, what is a paradox? Since Daniel brings it up and poo-poos the idea. So a paradox is defined as a logically self-contradictory statement that, despite apparently valid reasoning from true premises, it leads to a seemingly self-contradictory or logically unacceptable conclusion. There are 3 laws of paradox. The first is called self-reference. For example, this statement is false. Right? Do you get it?
Yep.
Because if it's false, it's true. If it's true, it's false. Right. Just make sure you're not all idiots.
I don't get it.
Wow.
Wait, is it?
Or
You talk fancy.
Yeah, all them big words.
Yeah, you fancy talking people.
the other question, example question is the answer to this question no? Second law of paradox, contradiction. For example, wishing a genie's wishes don't come true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get stuck.
That's what killed Robin Williams, I think.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
Wow, we didn't like that one, huh?
Dark. No, I love it. The worse a joke is, the better I like it. I mean, not like racist or bigoted, but, you know, clever. Anyways.
Yeah, but fuck Robin Williams.
Dark. Oh my God. I can't believe people.
I don't like general cruelty. I like to be very focused.
The third law of paradox, vicious circularity or infinite regress. For example, the following sentence is true. The previous sentence is false. That reminds me of The Labyrinth, which, oh my God, I just realized I have on the shirt with the door knockers that give that riddle. But it's the shirt just says, it's got the knockers on my knockers.
On your knockers.
And it says, it's very rude to stare. How weird that I put that on. Anyway.
Looks like you traveled in time.
Oh, I must have, yeah. In mathematical logic, Russell's paradox questions whether a set of all sets that do not contain themselves would include itself. For example, that is often used for laymen instead of talking in math. It's called the barber example. So, consider a group of barbers who shave only those men who do not shave themselves. Suppose there is a barber in this collection who does not shave himself. Then, by the definition of the collection, he must shave himself, but no barber in the collection can shave himself. If so, he would be a man who does not shave men who shave themselves. Got it?
Yep. No, but that's okay.
What's a barber?
Oh my God.
Very much like to stay away from examples in the future involving men shaving each other or themselves.
That reminds me.
That's what the interweb said. That's how to explain the Russell's paradox. All right. So there are also examples of paradox outside of logic. They're found in philosophy, like the ship of Theseus paradox, which says, Theseus is the mythical Greek founder king of Athens, who rescued children of Athens from King Minos after slaying the Minotaur. He escaped by ship, and then every year the Athenians commemorate this by taking the boat on a pilgrimage. Philosophers at the time began to question whether a ship repaired over time by replacing each and all of its wooden parts one at a time would remain the same ship. In contemporary philosophy, this thought experiment has applications in studying identity over time. Are we the same person we were 10 years ago? Paradoxes can also be found in other types of media, such as the images created by artist M.C. Escher, with walls that are regarded as floors and staircases that appear to climb endlessly, and, of course, on television shows like Lost. What do you think?
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's a paradox. I think I would much prefer to study paradox in philosophy than I would in mathematics.
Oh, yeah.
They can cause time quakes, too.
Oh?
It was a corny movie in the 80s called Millennium. It's with Chris Christopherson.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, really cheesy.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't think I know that.
Yeah, they'd come from 1,000 years in the future and rescue people just before the plane crashed and replace them with like corpses.
Whoa!
And one of the
Just
Cheryl
added that
Ladd
to
was
his-
in that movie, and she left like her little transmitter, and Chris Christopherson found it and ended up destroying the world or something.
Oh, fuck.
They caused too many paradoxes.
Oh,
I think Dave just added that to his
interesting.
list.
Did he?
You don't need to. You don't
I
need
saw
to.
it. I remember seeing it in a theater too. It was bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Shall we do some best and worst moments? How about we start with Christy today?
For me, the worst moments were Dez's confusion, not knowing where he was on the chopper, and then Minkowski's death. Because, he's like, oh, fuck, that's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Best moment, December 24th, 2004. Penny answers the phone. Penny and Des make their promises to each other and profess their love.
And James is born. Remember?
Yes.
She's looking at me like, what the fuck?
It took me a second, but then I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, James.
Oh, yeah. James was born. Wait, is James Canadian or is James Irish?
James is, get this, Scottish.
Ooh!
Oh.
Well, all right, James. Dave, why don't you give us your best and worst?
Yeah. So obviously, it was a great episode. The whole thing was amazing.
Yeah.
I try to go a little bit off the beaten path with these picks. Usually, I thought my best moment was I really liked the transitions in general between the time jumps. Like the one that stands out to me in particular is the collapse transition, where he collapses in the stairwell, and then I don't know, just the editing was really good. I hope Caleb agrees with that at least. For those, that was.
I thought the picking up the coins one was as well. He's down and then back up and in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed those. The worst moment for me, again, it was difficult to pick a worst moment. I have to navigate this one carefully because it's a potential spoiler, but I won't say who. But Faraday, we find out later, has named Eloise the rat after someone.
Yes, he has.
And when you know who he's named it after, it's like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yes.
Kind of weird. So my worst moment was that, as well as him when he rubs it off his cheek when he picks it up. Do you remember that bit?
It's weird.
In the skin crawl.
He's rubbing a lot off in that.
Yeah, yes, Derek. There is a fun moment when you find out who Eloise's name is.
There's another character named Eloise. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll just go with mine then. I have 3 best moments, or 2 best moments. Just kidding. Obviously, Christmas Eve. Yeah, same thing. The call, all of it. Duh. I mean, it's just amazing. I cry every fucking time. And then also the auction, when the BlackRock and Tovar Hanso are very casually mentioned in this sort of flashback. And I love that little egg that they put in there.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Yeah. My worst moment was that it ended, that the episode stopped. That was the worst moment of all of it. Caleb, how about you?
Yeah, obviously the Christmas Eve, I think, is my favorite part. It's really tough not to, kind of just get attached to Desmond and Penny and their relationship throughout the entirety of the series. It's probably actually one of my favorite parts of the series, to be honest with you. And my worst part,
editing.
No. It was just that one part that I kind of had a little bit of an issue with. I didn't really think there was anything too terrible. I didn't like when they landed and you see Kimi basically right away.
He's gross.
Even if you don't know who he is, you're like, this guy looks like just fucking some sort of malevolent force. So you know that something bad's going to happen regardless.
Bad guy. Yep.
Yeah, so that was kind of my worst moment. It was just them coming face to face with Kimi and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, well, yeah, Kimi. If you've seen the show, it's hard not to hate him the second he comes off because of his storyline later. But
I mean, yeah, he's an asshole, but I don't know. I think he's hot.
I mean, you can have a dick face and be hot. I mean, resting bitch face is hot too. Yeah. It's not about being unattractive. I mean, he's attractive. He's got a nice body and stuff. He just has a face that looks like he is going to cause trouble. Yeah. And that's why they use him as an actor to cause trouble. Ben, how about you? What's your best and worst?
Same thing. Best moment was just the whole, I love you, Penny, the December 24th thing. So we've already covered that. I think the worst moment was when Widmore's talking to Desmond, and he basically makes him sit there watching him piss before he'll talk to him. That sort of power move was just like, oh, dude.
So I would have gotten stage fright. Some guys staring at me. No.
At the time of recording, I had a full conversation with 3 young men while I was pissing in a urinal last night.
Well, there you go.
Against my will, by the way. They were very insistent on continuing the conversation.
Did you cross streams?
They weren't peeing. That was the weirdest thing. They were just standing around.
Yeah, that's odd.
That's
very weird.
So I was the Widmore and the unwitting Widmore in this situation.
Were they hitting on you?
No, it's a long story.
Oh, okay. Apparently, one for when the recording is off.
But they were all Gen Zs, and they said "dead ass," which I thought was fun because I've never heard a Gen Z say that in the wild.
Yes, they do.
Dead
ass.
It means it's Gen Z for real.
Yeah.
Oh,
like dead ass, as in, are you serious?
Or it can also be used. It can also be used as like a confirmation, like he dead ass.
Like absolutely
did this.
Dead ass.
Yeah, exactly. I speak Gen Z. At least I try to.
Yeah, me too. I dabble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I Google a little here and there, and
I've got conversational Gen Z.
I could probably understand a lot of it.
Gen Z for dummies.
Yeah. I don't have academic Gen Z, but I have
casual.
There was
Gen
that part
Z.
in The Simpsons where Grandpa Simpson's like, "What was cool once is no longer. You'll be there too one day."
What happened to you?
All right, Derek, you finally saw The Constant. What were your best and worst moments?
My best moment was the whole fucking episode.
There you go.
If I had to pick one scene, of course, it was James's birthday when Desmond calls Penny from the ship, and I didn't have a worst moment.
Yeah, it's hard too. I'm glad that it lived up to it because we talked the episode.
Yeah, you had been
up.
hyping it. So, yeah,
but it because it lives up to it. So it's easy to hype it and not ruin it for somebody because it really does live up to it. All right, guess what we're going to do now? We're going to do some rankings. And Caleb, let's start with you. What are your rankings that count?
I mean, pretty much everybody on the boat sucks.
Yeah.
Initially. Kimi, the doctor, the rando guy that's there, the general, the henchman.
Omar.
Whatever you want to call them. Omar? Sure.
Yeah.
And then Kimi gets a special call out just because he's just such a shit. And then
I see. So everyone else on the boat is third worst, but Kimi is above that as the second worst. He's the worst of the worst.
All the C-list people floating around on there,
Fuck them all.
And then of course Rocky Dennis really is Charlotte just the way that the character is in this episode, the what's going on, the dynamic with her and the rest of the.
They make her a little snooty.
Yeah, she's a pain in the ass as well. So
yeah.
So really, just kind of most of the group from the boat, I think, just kind of suck in general.
And your tops?
Saeed, because Saeed is always mostly just kind of a generally like a good dude. Like,
yeah.
You typically don't have many problems with him in a lot of the episodes. Save a small handful. Plus, he's there trying to help Desmond, and he's obviously like concerned, like what's going on with him. And then of course Penny and Desmond, kind of like as I mentioned before, like Desmond is just one of my favorite characters on the show. Period.
Absolutely.
Christy's heard me say this many times. Like he's one of my favorites. and just again the relationship they have and the way it's portrayed, and the way that those two actors actually have genuine chemistry, I think works. They work really well together. So that would be my top 3.
So I was going to say the chemistry, and they're not even on set together as well.
Yeah.
It's super
exactly.
That's
impressive.
what's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. It's one of the greatest like love stories in television history, I would say. And a lot of people put Sun and Jin up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So Caleb, I understand you are having a threesome this week.
Well, initially...
Was Rocky Dennis involved?
No. Yes, with a potato sack. We just got to... Penny is always like my number one on the show when it comes to fuck. Like everything else aside, like she will always be number one. And because I don't know what it is about Sonya Walger, but there's just something I find extremely sexy about her.
I do too. Ben disagrees.
The exact opposite.
Ben does not agree.
Yeah, I think she's hot.
And Juliet, which is something that Christy and our friend Lauren used to tease me about. I think Juliet's just exceptionally hot as well. So the two of them.
Me too.
So Juliet's a tight
similar
second,
taste,
but Penny's number one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when Caleb texted me his rankings, that's when I saw Rocky Dennis and busted out laughing. But he said, he was going to fuck Penny. He's like, although Juliet's always a close second. And I'm like, well, you can have a threesome. And he responded, cool, I can disappoint 2 women at once. Great. All right, and you're killing Rocky Dennis then, right? We said that?
Yeah, God does not suffer Rocky Dennis to live. I just in general in that episode, like she is just, I mean, again, Kimi and all those other people aside, like she just bothers the living shit out of me so much. Like I just get rid of her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it painful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Derek, how about you? What are your rankings for the constant?
My third worst is Charles Widmore.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of his. Second worst is Kimi. I put first is Dr. Ray because he's not really a good doctor.
No.
Fucking injecting people with crap. And didn't like him at all. And so my third best is Penny. And I put second is Dan Faraday. I just like him.
He's great.
Even if he does wank constantly.
Yeah, oh my God. That's actually what I like about him most.
He knows what's going on here.
Yeah.
And of course the best is Desmond.
He's charming in a way too, Faraday.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. And of course the best is Desmond.
Of course the best is Desmond. Now for my fuck, I'm going to do, this is the first time I've ever done this in the series. I want to do a threesome with Penny and Desmond, both in 96 and 04.
Nice.
Wow.
That's how good that scene was.
Time traveling threesome.
Time traveling spit roast, yeah.
You're going gay for me, brother.
I got to get in on that. All right. Well.
And I'm going to kill Kimi.
Yes. Kill Kimi. Penny's in for some DP. It's a great day. Ben, how about you?
Third from the bottom, I've got Charles Widmore for his power piss. Second from the bottom, Dr. Ray for his, just punchable face and bad injection.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And number one, of course, Kimi, because I imagine he's like walking chlamydia. Like I just imagine he's like a sexually transmitted disease with feet. He's just gross. Yeah.
That dude definitely doesn't wear condoms.
No,
oh my God.
No.
That's
Raw
like
dog,
what,
baby.
It's like what chlamydia looks like under the microscope. It's just a bunch of Kimi faces floating around.
Resting rape
hilarious.
face.
Oh, God.
He's the type of guy who'll tell you he put the condom on and then just throw it across the room.
Yeah.
Gross.
They do that sometimes.
My top three, I've got, Frank LAPidus, just because Frank needs some love. Dan Faraday in second place because he knows what's going on. And even though his knowledge of all of this stuff was really not believable, there were some massive plot holes there, but I still love the way that they wrote it. And of course, Desmond in first place. I'll fuck Juliet.
All right.
Dave, how about you? You come to sabotage again?
All right, you know it. Actually, this was a difficult one, especially for the bottom 3 characters, because I thought everyone was on their A game here. I don't like picking shitty characters if I like them. So I couldn't pick Kimi because I think he does what he's supposed to do well.
Well, that is true.
Yeah. Having said that, my third from the bottom is Omar because he just seems like a douchebag and he's from Florida. So. My second one is the boat doctor, who I believe his name is Dr. Ray. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I feel like I've never met a Ray that I liked. And second of all,
point.
I mean, dude, what about your Hippocratic Oath? What about bedside manner?
Yeah.
This cunt has never heard of any of this shit.
Can't
He's
even
an asshole.
inject properly.
No.
Seriously.
We met a guy in the Bahamas, I think it was, whose name was Dr. Ray, and he had a PhD in mixology.
Oh, God.
All right, well, that's the best Ray on earth for sure.
Yeah.
I want to meet that Dr. Ray. My number one, worst of the worst, is Charles Widmore because he's the fucking bourgeoisie. The piss power move. Fuck him for that. Fuck him for leaving the sink on. That was another weird power move.
Yeah.
He just expected Desmond to turn it off for him. I guess was the intention there. There's another little pet peeve that he did that I know. This is so common that I know statistically at least one person in this call does this, and so I apologize in advance. But it really annoys me is when people put soap on their hands before wetting them. And he does that. He just goes straight to the soap and then washes. And that's pretty common. I see it in the wild a lot. And I hate it.
Actually,
yeah,
I might do that.
I need to have wet hands before I put soap on. It's gross.
Well, I don't do this. I'll put it in my hand, then turn the water on, put the water in my hand, and do it all at once.
Slightly less psychotic, but I mean, you gotta get them right under there first. He also does it. He actually, you know what? He did another thing, another bathroom habit I hate, which is that he got a little paper towel and used it to hit the soap dispenser. You're about to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Anything that's on there, it's about to get washed off. I never understood that. I spent way too much time on Charles Widmore's hand washing habits.
Bathroom etiquette.
You've got a cork board with the pictures and the red twine.
Follow the money.
Dave's been holed up in his bedroom for weeks, trying to reconcile this hand washing behavior.
So my top 3, honorable mention goes to LAPidus. I don't think he really did much in this episode, so I couldn't justify a reason.
I know he's a badass.
He got them back on that freighter in one piece.
That's true. He's a hell of a pilot. He's a hell of a pilot.
But my number failed to do that.
But my number 3 is Juliet. It was short but sweet, but I just love her endless sarcasm that she's been adopting since she got back to the beach. She's like,
that's true.
None of us are big fans of Charlotte, and it seems like Juliet's not a big fan of Charlotte either.
Right.
They're clashing, and I like her for that. She doesn't give a fuck anymore. You can tell. My number 2 is Minkowski. Because I found him to be, I found him to be really compelling. I found him to be quite a sympathetic character. He didn't seem like an asshole or anything like that. Everybody else did. He was helpful when he could be, and he was
tied him up.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just the right amount of nuts. You want a little crazy, and he had it. And then my number 1 has got to be Saeed because he was just Desmond's homie the whole episode. He was cool, calm, and collected as always. He did that thing that I think he's done in an earlier episode. I think it was earlier in season 2 when he had to fix the thing in the hatch very early on. Do you remember when they shot the computer?
Yeah.
Where he said he would fix it without asking any questions.
You're right.
He did the same thing here. Yeah. He's like, okay, I know it needs to be done. We'll talk later, and he's just a man of action, and I really respect that about Saeed.
He's sort of like the Samwise Gamgee of the.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's great. Wow. So Desmond's not going to sweep then, because you got a Saeed in there.
Yeah. Obviously I love Desmond, but he doesn't need my help. So my fucking kill, it's funny because my reasons for this I feel like are reasons that I've picked in the past, although they're different people. So my kill is Minkowski, just to put him out of his misery. I think I did the same thing with Leslie Arst maybe in a previous episode. and then I know I've done this with Hurley in the last episode, I think, but I'm fucking past Faraday because he just looks like he needs it.
I love Dan Faraday. I think I fucked him a couple times.
Maybe he'd stop wanking so much if he was getting
Or no.
You fuck him while he's wanking.
It's important to his work. You don't understand.
All right. So mine, third worst, I had Omar because he looks like a douche. Second worst, I had Dr. Ray because he can't give it an injection. First worst, I had Kimi. I agree with you, Dave. That's true. But the guy gives me that feeling like he's one of those men that when
that's chlamydia.
He looks, yes, but when he looks at you, like that face, you feel like he's looking at you naked. Christy knows what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the vibe I get from Kimi. My third best is Eloise the rat. She's the fucking champ. She went out like a hero.
Took
Second
one to the
best, Dan Faraday, of course, because he's fucking awesome and adorable and charming. And best, Desmond, because he is like the best character on the show. He's always been my favorite. And this episode, of course, was incredible. I am having a threesome this week as well with Desmond and Dan Faraday. So looks like some DP for me too.
Can you imagine how greasy that would be? Like, fucking Faraday does not look clean. I'm sorry. Like, well,
he spends all his time wanking. He doesn't have a time for shower. And I'm going to kill Kimi because he makes me skeevy. Christy, how about you? What did you do this week?
So I only had 2 on the bottom. Kimi and then Widmore is the worst. Because Widmore's just the worst. On my top 3, we have Faraday and then Penny and then Desmond because, yes, he is the best character on the show. I am going to fuck Desmond and Penny, and I guess I'll have to wait for Derek to finish up with them first.
Oh!
And then I'm going to kill Charles Widmore.
Got it. Ben, can you please tell us what our power rankings are after the constant?
Yeah, a lot of changes. We've got third from last. We've got Charles Widmore with negative 15 points.
He's been in the bottom every year, I think.
Yep.
Well, every year he's been around, so 2 through 4.
Miles falls to second place with negative 25 points, and we have a new bottom of the barrel, and his name is Kimi with negative 28 points.
Wow.
He's going to stay there, I bet.
Yeah.
What's happening in the top?
At the top, Dan Faraday keeps his third place, goes from 13 to 29 points, and that keeps him in third place.
Damn.
Hurley and Ben are still tied, but they've dropped to second place with 36 points, and in first place, a new front runner,
Desmond
with 37 points.
Yay!
Of course. Wow, he really shot up into first place. What did he have last week? Was like,
probably 0.
where is he? 3. He went from 3 to 37. Yeah. Nice. Good job, Desmond. Keep it up. Wow. And Ben Linus and Hurley and Dan Faraday all on the top. What a really cool way to start season 4. It's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we do some final impressions of the constant? How about we start with Caleb? Other than the editing, what did you think?
Honestly, I would say that it's probably top 3 episodes of the entire series. I know that's probably a common sentiment that's out there, but and it's nice when the focus isn't always on Jack and Locke and Kate and and all them. So it's
agreed.
So it's nice that again, Desmond's a compelling character. His relationship with Penny is compelling. So it's nice when the focus shifts to well written other characters that are there as well.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You done?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Ben, what did you think?
Oh, I think it's a great episode. Again, I think it's probably one of the top 3 of the series. I'm not really going to go too deep into it, but I think, most stories that are sort of fantastical are only really worth telling if there's a solid emotional kind of core to them. And this was a show that had that kind of threaded throughout. There was these kind of sentiments of destiny or predestination and all these other things that we could ask about. But when it comes down to it, it was about love. And it was about love being the thing that kind of brings order out of chaos. And I thought even though that there were some pieces of the story, like Dan Faraday's inclusion in the story was a little, he moved it along, but there was a lot of liberties taken. But I think all in all, a lot of that's forgivable because it ended up being a really kind of sweet and compelling story about love. So I think it was a great episode.
Agreed. Christy, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's just about one of the best episodes of the series, if not the best. I just really love the love between Desmond and Penny, and it transcends time and space. So yeah, I loved it.
Indeed. Yeah, I thought, obviously best episode ever. Time travel, love, Eloise the rat, Widmore purchasing a journal from the Black Rock.
Constant wanking.
It's beautiful. Fuck Kimi, but best episode ever. It's just so well written, and I think it considering like what you see up to this episode, it's such a pivotal moment because although they've been kind of teasing this sort of time travel and stuff like that, this is when that storyline just really blossoms. And, spoiler alert, Derek, we're going to continue down this road in case you couldn't figure it out. But it opens the door to this whole other like half of this show. And I just think it's so beautifully done. And it to me, the first time I watched it just grabbed me. And again, it was one of those moments where I'm watching and it like reaffirms like, yeah, this is the show. Like, this is my show. And obviously The Constant did that. So
I don't think it was the show that grabbed you. I think it was probably Kimi that grabbed you.
Dave, how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a masterpiece. I mean, what more is there to say? It's maybe it's definitely the best episode of Lost. I think maybe up in the running for one of the best episodes of television of all time. And certainly one of the best episodes of sci-fi TV of all time. I love that after 4 seasons, the writers can still experiment and like take a sort of well-worn by now device like the flashbacks and use them in an almost meta way. You know what I mean? Like, these are just flashbacks like any other episode, except the characters are aware of them. And one character in particular is feeling them and stuff. I thought that was like a really cool way to use just to repackage something that they've been using from the start, and make it fresh. And
again, that's the same thing that they did with the flash forward.
Exactly.
Like
so
it's not a huge change. It's not like this other brilliant idea out of nowhere. It's just like a refresher.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They kept it fresh. So I really admire that. I think knowing the literary influences of these writers and like their taste in stuff, you'd have to think there's like a Kurt Vonnegut influence in here, right? Like,
without a doubt.
Yeah, like Slaughterhouse-Five. It's a story about a man being unstuck in time.
Right.
I think that book uses that to explore themes of like PTSD and like anti-war messages and stuff. And this sort of does the same thing with love, albeit like on a smaller scale, but like just how like love through the ages and all this. That's a not very fully formed thought, but and then obviously the ending was amazing. It was like a masterful crescendo of emotion. The editing was good. Sorry, Caleb. And
just that one part. It's just that one part that bothered me.
Yeah. The performances by Desmond and Penny by Henry and Cusick and Sonia, forgetting her last name right now. Sorry, Sonia Walker. They just they absolutely put the bow on the episode. It wouldn't have been nearly as good without their powerhouse performances. So I loved it.
Agreed. All right, Derek, what did you think of The Constant, and what kind of questions did it bring up?
Well, so far, I think it's the best episode of the series.
Yeah.
Because I haven't watched the whole thing. But yeah, it was a great episode. It was, it moved along. And, I like the time travel aspect of it because it wasn't like physical time travel. And this was the first episode that didn't have any actual flashbacks or forwards in it.
Well, there's the Backenders episode that had that the entire thing was a flashback. Well, I guess then that still counts. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And so, yeah, it was a great episode, and the ending was outstanding. But I got a few questions here. You know, why did Desmond start time traveling after flying through the clouds? Like, what is the meaning of that? And, you know, who left the door open to allow him to call Penny? And why is Desmond Hume Daniel's constant?
Wow. All right. Those are really good questions. That second one is going to be answered in a few weeks. The others are a little more complicated.
Yep, he's baiting. Go away, I'm baiting.
Yeah. Baiting.
Go away, I'm baiting. Oh my God.
Baiting.
All right, guys. Look, thank you for everyone who is here today. Caleb, Dave, it was really great to have you here. I'm going to keep harassing you to coming back until this podcast is over. So hopefully you'll agree to that. I was so looking forward to recording this episode with you guys. It's been great. The Constant is amazing. But next week, we're back to the flashback where we learn more about Juliet's time on the island. And, Derek, we're going to hear about the Tempest. What's that?
What?
Next week, it's The Other Woman. It's a Juliet episode, and it is a Ben episode, and we will see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
everybody.
Lost in My 40s is a Spacebear media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacey J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook and Spacebear_media on Instagram and Threads. Plus, follow Spacebear Media on YouTube for extra video content. Or for everything in one place, go to spacebearmedia.com.